Hey, man, look, man, today, guess what happened? Football came back into our lives.
Carolina Panthers football is back.
On a Sunday at 1 p.m.
Yes, sir.
What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Oh, look who oh man. Oh, look at this bald-headed guy.
Wow, this is what we do now.
On the day that the Panthers play their first game, the Falcons fan shows up. That's awesome. Right? That's awesome.
We took care of business on Friday, so
Oh, y'all had a game?
Yeah, we took care of business. We came out healthy, and we're just getting ready for the last two preseason games. Make sure nobody gets hurt between now and opening week.
Gotcha.
All right, that's enough for the Falcons. Rodney, you got something?
Look, man, first of all, what I like to do every time we start, how was your week, fellas?
We'll start with the guests. Danny, how was your week, man?
I mean, right now I'm tired. The wife and I went to Baltimore yesterday for the day yesterday.
Glad you made it back safely.
Yeah.
Listen, I had my first taste of Baltimore experience last night, leaving the Ravens game last night. So the wife and I went to the Ravens game, went to Jimmy Seafood, and somehow the GPS took us directly through the wire. Every neighborhood the wire was shot at in Baltimore, we just happened to go through to get to Jimmy's. And as we're leaving, going on 395, we had to go back through downtown Baltimore. And so I'm at a stoplight at the edge of downtown in a harbor, and this guy just pulls out in front of me on a moped, and literally it's a green light. He sits there and sits in front of my car and waves to all his homeboys. And next thing you know, about 40 dune buggies and dirt bikes and motorcycles just come out this gas station looking like a 1990s Rough Riders video shot by DMX in the middle of downtown. I watched a guy almost get decapitated. So he's driving, standing on top of the motorcycle, and next thing you know, this car is about to hit him head on. He stops and throws the guy the finger like it's his fault.
Welcome to Baltimore.
Welcome to Baltimore. Welcome.
And my wife is like, oh my God. I'm like, let's get the fuck out. Let's get up out of here. We are not. I almost hit the guy on a green light. I should have hit him. But if I hit him, that's about 65 dudes outside. I'm just really not
Yeah. All right, guys, what about you? What about you?
It was a pretty good week. A good week, actually, for Charlotte sports. Some people won't see it that way, but I felt like if you were a Charlotte sports fan, it was a pretty good precursor of things to come.
Jamal.
I am week 3 of being halfway vaccinated. Still no chips. Still no mutations.
The man knows where you are right now.
I'm sorry if the government is tracking us right now because of my infusion, but feeling good, man. It was overall, man, busy week, but it was a good week overall. Glad to be here, man. Glad to have my boy Danny on, man.
You're an amphibian now, but guys. So
he's a Panthers fan, so it's close enough.
Hey, we're not doing that today.
See, look, this is why I contemplate letting you in later. But guys, the Panthers lost 21-18 today to the Colts. What did you guys see that you liked and didn't like today?
I thought they played well. Mm-hmm. It's preseason, so you really can't put too much stock into the W or the L. I will say, however, during the broadcast, they mentioned that that the Panthers were trying to win this game.
Time out. Let me respectfully cut you off, Kaza, because you said a trigger word just now. That broadcast was the worst broadcast I have ever witnessed in live TV history. WSOC, right. That was awful. That was listen. Then when they actually got it together, they couldn't get a damn cursor off the TV because they were showing somebody else's feed. I just had to interrupt, man. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
We were actually supposed to watch the FC Barcelona game or something like that.
Then we got soccer for 4 minutes.
The NFL Network blacked out the game
because of coverage.
Not to interfere with our local broadcast, but
which is fair because I didn't see a local broadcast. So my question was for you guys: was it a WSOC issue or was it an NFL Network issue?
WSOC.
Probably a WSOC issue because the NFL, it didn't look like an NFL Network broadcast. It looked like a a typical local broadcast.
It didn't look like a high school broadcast, let alone an NFL Network broadcast.
Right, and I felt bad because Steve Smith is actually great on the mic. He's great during the games.
Yeah, it was actually. I actually kind of what I listened to. I actually kind of enjoyed it. It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Steve Smith did a great job, and it's funny because he always toes that line between hating on the Panthers and loving the Panthers. Like he's a Panthers fan, but he'll never say it. But you can tell that he is. And I thought the Panthers, for the most part, played well considering there were almost no starters in the game, a bunch of second stringers. But the Panthers did say that, hey, we're trying to win this game. And there were some decisions late that made me question that, but they did do good things. Like, for instance, with 42 seconds left in the first half, they actually went for it and got a field goal for their trouble. That's something we wouldn't have seen from the Panthers teams in the past, and that's something I hope carries over to the regular season. I thought P.J. Walker looked pretty good. Now, he was only 10 for 21, but he threw for, I think, 139 yards, didn't get sacked. I think he's going to end up being a very, very solid backup. I don't think that he'll threaten Sam Darnold's position, although the jury's still out on Sam Darnold, and he's got to do a lot to convince me. Mm-hmm. But I do think that Sam Darnold is probably a better starting quarterback than P.J. Walker is ready to be right now. But I thought P.J. Walker looked great. Terrence Wallace Jr., man, he looked really, really, really good. Had a big catch early on, some clutch catches later. Chuba Hubbard, man, that's it. If the Panthers don't find a way to integrate him into the offense along with Christian McCaffrey, that will be a major failure on the coaching staff. Major.
100% agree. Absolutely.
Yeah. So would you guys say that he's an adequate replacement to Mike Davis?
Absolutely. He's
a rookie, but I mean,
he's much different than Mike Davis because Davis, he's much more. Davis is a north-south runner,
right?
And Hubbard came from Oklahoma State, so that offense was much more of a wide open, get in space, make catches out of the backfield. I think he's a better complement to like Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
As far, especially if Christian goes down, it's the same type of running back kind of sort of.
Let me say this, Danny. Look, man, let me be clear. This is the smallest sample size you could possibly see. But there was one run where I looked at Chuba Hubbard, man, and I don't know, man. I mean, he looks like he has the burst, but he definitely looked like he can run between the tackles as well, man. Again, I don't want to overreact for one series in the preseason game, man. But he gave me the impression, man, he could be that north-south guy, man.
Guys, let me tell you what I realized today that we actually may have a tight end on the roster because we didn't have one last year. Out there. We didn't have any tight ends last year. Was it Trimble from Notre Dame actually caught the touchdown pass from Walker, right?
Yeah. Kaz, you were finishing, bro?
No. Actually, that's a good segue. Trimble, I think 3 catches and a touchdown. And really, all we ever need out of tight ends is we don't need another Greg Olsen, but we need a guy who's going to be a reliable safety valve for our quarterbacks. And Trimble looks like he might be that guy. Good performance from him today, but
let me be. I want to say with the offense, like I really didn't put too much stock into what the offense did. I didn't have any high expectations because our main guys didn't play, obviously, man. So I wasn't expecting much, but what really did impress me were the young guys. Shi Smith had a big catch for 26 yards. Terrace Marshall, as you said, man, 3 catches, 88 yards. Tommy Trimble with the really good touchdown catch, man. So I really liked what I saw from the young guys. But most importantly, I liked what I saw from the offensive line. I was very, very high on Brady Christensen when we drafted him. It looks like so far he may prove us right. Now, again, first preseason game, don't want to overreact too much, man. But at the same time, man, I really liked what I saw from the young guys, especially on the O-line, man. I think a couple of those guys are going to start, judging from what we saw today. Defensively, I liked our front 4 mainly. I liked the front 7 overall, but I really liked the front 4. I did not like our secondary. Our secondary gave me a lot to pause for, man. Troy Pride had a bad day. He had a horrible day. And hopefully he's okay, man, because it looked like that injury he sustained may be pretty serious, man. But I'm looking at the secondary, man, and there was a lot of bending and breaking. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of soft coverage that ended up in some big gains. Both of the Colts quarterbacks, they combined for 310 yards, 25 for 36. I'm not a big fan of that stat, man. And, again, it's not like Bouye or Jackson played a lot of snaps, but the secondary just gave me a lot to question. I'll put it like that.
So, in your opinion, how did the linebackers look today?
It was funny because during the game, my first thought was, who the hell are these guys? I don't know who are these, but for a bunch of no-name guys, I thought they played pretty well, man, honestly.
I think with preseason, I think this preseason is going to be different than any other preseason we've seen in years because of the 17th game, and you're not going to see very many starters. I mean, we already heard the Chargers not going to play a single starter in preseason at all.
Wow.
And because that 17th game is so much wear and tear on these players, this might be the preseason, not just for Carolina, but for the other 31 teams in the league. You can really evaluate the guys towards the end of that roster, to the ones that you had questions about, the ones you've never seen, because they're going to get more and more playing time. This is the most playing time that backups will ever receive in preseason, I think, this year.
Right. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And I don't think that's a bad thing, actually.
It's not. It's not actually, especially if they're going to expand practice rock. If they expand the practice squad, can you imagine all those reps and all those quality times in games? And coaches can see, especially for a second-year head coach like Matt Rule, he gets the chance to really develop these guys.
Right.
I mean, there's no reason to play Sam Darnold in anything but week 3 in preseason. There's no reason. No reason why you should see Robbie Anderson or DJ Moore or Christian McCaffrey or even on the defensive line, because unlike San Francisco, for example, that has defensive line depth, Carolina doesn't have the same depth. A lot of these teams don't have the same depth at the same positions. So if an injury goes down on a defensive lineman or a linebacker or even the secondary, it could damage your entire season.
But to add to your point, Danny, like, especially with the Carolina Panthers, being that we have such a young roster and we're probably going to be dependent on a lot of these young guys going into the regular season, I think it makes it that much more important to play these young guys during the regular season. Now, I held up a sign at the beginning of our broadcast. If you can't see that, it says DBO. Matt Rule says that stands for Don't Beat Ourselves. With young players like we have on this roster, that is going to be very, very important to try to implement. We didn't do a good job of that today. So, these next two – go ahead, Kaiser.
I was going to say that there was a hit on defensive receiver that essentially gave Indianapolis a touchdown. That got the difference in the game. And, yeah, you're right. The Panthers' defense is young. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. That's why we have a bunch of no-name guys, and they're going to I'm not worried about the offense. Bill Barber at ESPN said that he felt like the Panthers are the 7th best offense potentially this season in NFL. I don't completely agree with that, but I don't completely disagree either. I'm just not worried about the offense, even with Sam Darnold at the helm. But that defense, man, they don't have any leaders on the defense. They don't really have – with Luke Kuechly completely gone. He's not even in the building anymore. On the sidelines, they just don't have a leader. They don't have that guy. And like you said, the secondary looks pedestrian. I think the Panthers are hoping that the beefing up the front 7 can disguise some of the deficiencies of the back end, which is something the Panthers have been doing for 30 years now.
I've lost count.
Since the beginning.
Since they came into the league, that's how they've always addressed their secondary. I'm worried about the defense, the youth, not the talent, not the athleticism. Jeremy Chin, Brian Burns, gonna take huge steps this year. Talent-wise, they're good, but they need some depth. They need vets. They need leadership. There's a lot that defense gonna need.
Speaking of that, Kaza, I found it interesting in the fourth quarter when we were committing all these reckless penalties that Shaq Thompson was kind of getting on the defense and being very animated on the sideline. And I couldn't help wondering myself, like, is Shaq Thompson really ready for this role? Like, it's not to diss Shaq Thompson, but right, it's almost like by default. And I don't know if he's really that guy or not.
I mean, there's only one way to find out. He's got to do it.
He's got to do it, right?
If he said last year he wanted to be the guy on deep. He wanted to be the vocal leader. Now you're saying Kuechly's he's nowhere to be found. And kind of last year was difficult. If Luke's still in the building, that's still Luke's defense.
Right.
TD, the real Panthers that have been there. Shaq was brand new last year. So, you can't just walk in the door and start punching people in the throat when you just got here. You got to earn your stripes. You got to earn that title. And I think being around TD, being around Luke taught him how to be the guy in the locker room. Because like y'all mentioned before, the defense might be the youngest defense in the entire NFL, top to bottom, all 11 starters. Mm-hmm. I think they're either, if they're not the youngest, definitely top 5 as far as youngest. Someone's going to have to do it. If he's going to be on the sideline pushing people, I'm going to need somebody. I don't want Jeremy Chen, as good as he is, he's a second year. I don't need a second year guy leading my defense vocally. I need somebody that's been in the fire, someone who's been around. Trenches. Yeah, you need somebody like that.
Absolutely.
I got 13 million reasons why Shaq should be the leader next year.
You can't force, hey man, look, money can't force leadership.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of Julius Peppers. Remember the Panthers were wanting him to be that
vocal guy. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't force
that. But Shaq doesn't have that talent level.
Okay, so that's another thing I was going to say. With Luke Kuechly didn't come in and just start being the Panthers leader. He learned behind John Beeson and Thomas Davis, and eventually he became the leader. And because he had this immense talent, it was just kind of, by default. I mean, Thomas Davis never left, but it was just kind of like, okay,
you the guy.
Now, with Shaq Thompson, although I love Shaq Thompson, he can be a real missile on defense sometimes. But he's not like Luke or even John Beeson for that matter, or Thomas Davis. He's not
Dan Morgan
guys, or Dan Morgan or any of the other good Panthers linebackers. He's just not there. So how much are the other players really going to listen to him? How much are they really going to be like, dude, you're making the same mistakes I am? That's
here's the thing, because not the best player is never always necessarily the most vocal guy in the locker room. Because you can go back and let's change the sport for a second. You go to the NBA and Udonis Haslem is not the most talented player in the league, but I promise you, everybody listens to UD like it's nothing. Why do you think he's still on the roster?
Yeah, right. 16 years.
He's a goon, and Pat Riley's scared of him.
Listen, it is. But what I'm saying is the person that makes the most money is necessarily not the leader. I mean, you can't. You have to want that role, and I think in the point of Shaq Thompson, he wants the role. He sat there last year and watched the Panthers culture, and secondly, he's a second-year guy on this roster, just like Matt Rule is. He's not one of the incumbents, but sometimes your vocal leader doesn't have to speak it. He doesn't have to be a Pro Bowler. You don't have to be a Pro Bowler to be the leader of the team. You don't.
You kind of spoke to the point I was going to make. We all know there's different types of leadership, man. And Shaq could be a leader by example. Sometimes you don't have to be the rah guy. But I guess my point is that with the Panthers, even we don't have like that grizzled vet to be that rah guy. It's kind of like Shaq has to do this by default. Whatever type of leader he is. We don't have a choice. He's it. We have to throw him into the fire in that regard. So,
I agree.
Hey guys, Will Greer.
So,
hi guys, Will Greer.
Listen, man. I'm going to try to be as fair as possible here, okay? Because people kind of say we trash the guy unfairly. So let me try to be fair. What I saw today from Will Greer. It kind of lets me know that the Panthers, didn't trust him,
right,
or they did not trust the guys who were in the game at that point blocking for him. To be fair, his stats were pretty pedestrian. There was a couple of plays where the offensive line kind of broke down. So with all that being said, man, I don't think today is a game where you can fairly judge Will Greer. I really, really believe that. It's not like he had a bunch of weapons out there to throw to. The offensive line didn't look great when he was in the game. But at the same time, there were some scenarios where I was just like, I don't think they trust this guy to throw the ball. There was a couple of a series where it was 4-down territory and they ran the ball twice. I thought that was pretty telling.
I mean, when is the right time to judge him? It's been what, 3-4 years now?
Yeah.
I was trying to be fair about today, man.
Hey man, look, we gotta be fair and give him a fair assessment at this point. It's been 3 or 4 years, and you don't trust this guy to throw the ball on 3rd and 4th down.
Does he make the roster? I know the rosters are expanded this season, but PJ Walker looked pretty good. Panthers have rolled with 2 QBs. A lot of teams do, so that they can get another spot for more depth on more needed position. I kind of think
I don't know. I don't think so.
You got to keep a 3rd quarterback this year. You got to.
17.
You think so?
I think, especially if your quarterback, I'm not sure if I'm correct, but Darnold hasn't said anything about the vaccination, has he?
Nah.
Not that we're aware of.
So since he hasn't said it, unless the Panthers know, you have to count as a person that hasn't said anything about it. You might want to take that as a negative. So you always have to have enough backups everywhere. And I mean, here's the thing: Will Grier is going to be Will Grier. There's nothing more. He's okay backup. Unless something happens, you're not asking him to start. PJ Walker might look better because he moves around. He has the swagger of a quarterback that can make plays, but he's still raw as everybody else in his roster. And Will's been there. I mean, he could. You just need somebody to hold a clipboard and hold the extra point when you score a touchdown at this point. You're not asking him to jump on the field.
I mean, honestly, what I would do is, man, I would honestly. I mean, it's been 3 or 4 years, man. I haven't seen anything. I move on from him, and I bring in a veteran guy as that emergency 3rd option. I'm just at this point, I'm just not feeling Will Grier. I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not gonna lie about it.
What about Vince's guy? Where's Vince?
I think Vince was on the Will Grier campaign for a minute, man.
Him and Skip Bayless.
Right. Oh man.
Hey, man. Guess who's 0-4 this? Okay, guess who's 0-4 this summer?
Wow. Yeah, there goes our playoff chances. Man, let's panic. It's over.
See why the Hornets are gonna play the regular season.
Fire JB. It's his fault.
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
Man, look, Danny. I got an important question for you while we're transitioning to the Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
Will Jello Ball make this roster?
If the season was starting tomorrow, no.
You're a hater. You're a hater. You just hate LeVar Ball.
Greensboro.
I think so. In 4 games, I will give. I'm one of the people that had mixed reservations about him being on Summer League.
We all
after watching 4 games, I'll say this: he's earned the right to be at training camp next month in Charlotte. He has earned the right.
We agree.
Of the 20 players that they're going to send more likely to Charlotte for training camp, he deserves to be part of that 20. There are some things about his game that are really well. He's a very good catch and shoot guy. Catch and shoot, he's very good at it. He's not very good at creating off the dribble, but he does hustle.
Mm-hmm.
He does hustle. He doesn't have the foot speed of neither one of his 2 brothers. I think he gets a shot at training camp. I don't think he makes the roster because there's not enough guaranteed spots in the roster at the current moment. They already have 17, and Mitch has said they still have to cut down. I think he might, if he plays well in preseason, he'll be in Greensboro. I don't see a scenario unless he goes completely cold tomorrow. Like I'm talking like 0 for 28 tomorrow, that he doesn't. The coaches like him. He's a very coachable kid.
Right.
He's not in the locker room, showing, no, he's not that type of kid. He's very quiet. He works hard, and I think he'll be in Greensboro, but I can't see him on this roster at any point in time unless something goes down with COVID. I don't think he gets one of the 2-way spots either.
Let me ask you a question. With shooting being a premium in the league, can you afford to leave him out there so another team can pluck him?
If you put Jello Ball in his roster right now, he's shooting, I think, 46, plus 40% in Summer League.
Right.
but he hasn't shot against an NBA defense at all.
Right.
That's the thing. When people say, "Oh, he's the best shooter on the roster," or he could be, Gordon Hayward and Miles Bridges were 40% three-point shooters on NBA defenses last year. Terry Rozier hit 222 threes on NBA defenses last year. There is a complete difference.
You mean for you mean like NBA teams who actually game planned against these guys, right?
Yeah. He hit 222 threes in 70 games last year.
That's a lot.
You're talking about guys that are doing this on a high level basis. PJ Washington hit almost 38% last year. Mm-hmm. For as frustrating as he's been to Hornets fans because of the up and downness of his career, his numbers were the same, but he shot almost 38% from three last year. Even LaMelo shot, after a rough start, he got to almost 36%. So for people saying Jello could walk in the door and be the best shooter on this roster, I don't see that at the current moment. I think he might be the fifth best shooter on this roster because we haven't seen him do it against NBA defenses. Where you, like you said, to game plan that part. But I mean, I can see him. He deserves to be in training camp next month. He's won me over in that aspect.
I agree, man. Like I think we have a lot of fans who are falling in love with the story, the story of LeVar Ball getting all three of his sons in the NBA. People are really, really in love with that story. Okay. Now we have to keep in mind, man, these summer league games, these are glorified Dowd YMCA games. Okay. There's a lot of young guys playing in the summer league, man. There's nobody's game planning against any particular player in the YMCA. These guys are barely running offensive sets. Like this is games being played barely at a professional level. And I'm probably being generous when I say that. Now, as this relates to Jello Ball can obviously shoot the ball. He is a really good shooter. But to Danny's point, man, we haven't seen what he can do against real competition. And I worry, and the thing that I have always worried about with Jello Ball as far as his game goes is that he can really shoot the ball, but what else have we seen from him? Again, does it look like he can guard anybody? Do you want Jello Ball guarding any wing players if he's getting rotation minutes?
Yes, I'll tell you why. Because somebody told me that he was a great perimeter defender.
No, he said he can defend his ass off.
Somebody said he can.
Quote.
Look, yeah, we really heard that today.
What?
Somebody really said that today, man.
Yeah.
But is that the LaMelo Ball my player character? I mean, LaMelo Ball my player character? Was that what it was?
It might have been Jello's cousin, but YouTube logic aside, I haven't seen anything that lets me know that he can do anything else on the NBA level, man. I get it. Shooting is a premium, but is it so much of a premium that you take away a roster spot that somebody else deserves? Somebody like a Jaden McDaniels. You get what I'm saying? Do you take a roster spot from Cody Martin, who at least has proven he can defend on an NBA level? So that's my question, man. Don't take away a roster spot because we're in love with the story. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Gotcha. So guys, what do you think about that?
I think a lot of these things two things can be true at the same time. I think Jello Ball will end up in the NBA somewhere and he'll have a solid career. Shooters never go out of style, especially in today's NBA. He'll develop an NBA shot. He'll be fine. The question is, will he do that with the Charlotte Hornets? And I don't know about that. I think, he'll certainly go to training camp. And I think he'll probably make the swarm roster. Whether he gets called up or not, he's got a lot more he's got to learn. I look at it like Seth Curry. Seth Curry, I guarantee Seth Curry at 12 years old could shoot better than Jello Ball can shoot now. I can guarantee that. But Seth Curry, despite being a great shooter, he couldn't even make Golden State rock the team his brother was on. He went from team to team to team before finally he carved out a niche, his own niche in the NBA. And now he's a solid NBA starter who is probably, I'm not going to say he's a better shooter than Steph Curry, but I mean, you don't leave Steph Curry open. You don't leave him open. You always got a guy in his face. So it might take a while for Jello to do the same thing. I know Hornets fans, because we love LaMelo Ball and we want to see him happy, like you said, we fall in love with that narrative. We really want Jello to make this team so we can see him play along his brother. And while that would be great, that may not be the best thing for the team right now. So I wouldn't be mad at the Hornets if he got a roster spot like over Cody Martin. Not personally, I personally think what Martin brings, the impact on his game, on the game. When Cody Martin comes in, you can tell that there's a difference in the game. Mm-hmm. If Jello Ball can replicate that offensively, then by all means. But I'm not certain it's in the cards.
Let me tell you what it sounds like. You guys are haters, and Thanasis Antetokounmpo.
If he can make it, why not Jello?
Right, man.
But Rodney, real quick, if we're haters, our good friend Mr. Jerry Vallencarter is the biggest hater because he said he's not an NBA player, period. So we're in good company if that's the case.
I'm gonna leave that alone, man, because I don't want to get fired up on YouTube.
No, I think it's a discussion that can be made. So the question I see with Jello on this roster, I think with the team adding Kelly Oubre and adding Wes Iwundu in the offseason,
we forget about him.
People forget about Wes Iwundu being on this roster and a guaranteed roster spot because he's got a guaranteed contract.
Yeah,
Charlotte has 15 guaranteed roster spots right now with contracts, and McDaniels and Cody Martin have unguaranteed contracts right now. So that's 17. They already have.
I think Cody Martin's deadline is today. I think in like an hour or something like that.
So I think it's today. I think McDaniels is sometime next week. Mm-hmm. So the question is, so you have to have 15. If you have 17, somebody's roster spot won't be there. Right. Whether it be Vernon Carey, whether it be Nick Richards at this point. Because JT Thor's already signed his deal. He's supposed to be on the roster. They brought Kai Jones and they have Bouknight on the roster already.
I'll take JT over.
Thor's on the roster too?
Thor has a contract for this year. He signed a 2-year deal. He's on the roster.
Wow.
So the question is, you can probably keep those guys, but some of those guys will end up in Greensboro. Right. I honestly think that Thor will be down there sometime soon. Mm-hmm. They can't two-way him because they've already two-wayed Scotty Lewis and they've already two-wayed Arnie from the kid from Lithuania, who can shoot the basketball. Now, why is
nobody talking about him? We're talking about
because he's not Jello.
Because it's not Jello, man.
See what you know what?
Because they don't have a big Kaboka brand, that's why.
Listen, but Arnie did make the comment the other day about being selfish in summer league. I kind of looked like, oof. Players are selfish in summer league because they're trying to shine. This is this is third summer league. This is Arnie's third summer league.
I mean, was he lying?
He wasn't lying, but I had never heard a player mention that in summer league.
That's one thing I've noticed about summer league, and I think a lot of people don't take into account. There's not much team basketball being played because guys are trying to get theirs. There was one time I think it was Scotty Lewis. No, it was Carlton. Somebody. Might have been the first, second game. He was on a fast break. Kai Jones streaking. So you know what I'm thinking. I'm like, there's not the
throw it up.
Nope. Easiest alley-oop you could ever throw. Nope. He took it to the basket, got fouled, and missed the shot. Now he hit the free throws, but I'm thinking in a real game, coaches
give that up.
Like, hey, bro.
JB's going to the hook right then and there, and Ish coming back in the game, or Melo's back in the game.
Hey man, hey, real quick, man. God bless Xavier Sneed. I hope he makes an NBA roster, but I have not seen that dude pass the ball at any point during the summer league, dude. Every time he's gotten the ball, it's went over.
Listen, Xavier Sneed, for those who play 2K, is playing my player, and he's hitting the Y button, asking for the ball every possession. And at the top of the screen, you're seeing, clapping for the ball too much. Yeah, you're losing your grade because of that. But Xavier's been part of the system. He's been in Greensboro with the team. He wants to stand out, but the wing position is funny. We talked about how last year we had no wings. Charlotte has wings everywhere, and so that's why I don't think Jello Ball will make that 15-man roster. There's too many wings. Like I said, they got to figure out what to do with Carey and Richards. And then they got to figure out
Carey Richards.
They can't go back to college. They can't pull a J.R. Smith. They can't go to college.
You sure? They can't?
They might need to.
No, I guess there's some things in summer league that are interesting. I'll let you guys talk about that. But there have been some things I saw in the first 4 games, and then we still got one more tomorrow. So
Yeah.
Look, I want to talk about somebody who's kind of impressed me, low key. I really like Scotty Lewis, man. I really like him.
Except for throwing the ball to the other damn team yesterday.
Look,
Outside of that,
it's Summer League.
Here's the thing: are we putting up championship banners for Summer League at this point? Are we worried about winning?
Yeah, I'd rather him make that mistake in Summer League than in
the regular season.
So he makes that mistake in Summer League, and everyone's talked about it. The coaches, the team, everyone's talked about it. He's not going to forget that. When it comes to a real game, he's going to remember.
And it could be worse. It's not like he was making $24 million and did it in the regular season game. So.
Nick Batum did that same thing in Miami 3 years ago.
Let that man go.
Never forget.
I got a question. Now y'all bring this up because I have a question for you guys. You guys are Hornets fans. You guys are part of the culture in Charlotte. Okay, he's gone. Nick Batum's been gone for 12 months now. Can we just let this man go?
At some point, but not right now.
Why? He's out of sight, out of mind for me.
We still paying him $18 million.
Okay, here's why you pay $18 million because the Hornets did not want to keep this man on the roster. If they would have reason. No, because they wanted Gordon Hayward.
You want to go? That was the only way we could get
That's
Gordon.
The only why you got rid of Nick Batum. Because here's the real answer: if you had kept Batum one more year, all of it comes off the books. Everything comes off the books.
Yeah, but we don't get Gordon Hayward.
Danny, listen, you are speaking very sensibly and you're speaking with logic and everything you're saying is accurate. But one thing you're not taking into consideration is our blood pressure. Our health could not take any more Nick Batum.
Listen, I was there in Summer League the day that the phone call went to Jordan and Rich Cho sitting behind Jordan at Summer League about going to get Nicholas Batum. I was there that day.
We were fine at that point. But what I'm saying is
I was good with them giving Nick Batum the $100 million, their $80 million and $100 million contract. I was actually fine with that. Nick Batum had played good in Portland. He had played great for the Hornets the season before, 15-6-6. I mean, that was, and we felt like he was going to be the Swiss Army knife kind of guy. Mm-hmm. And he did to be fair, he got injured the very next season, hurt his elbow. But then he came out and dropped 40 points against LeBron James, and we thought, okay, all right, here's our guy. And he was never that good again.
But the thing is, before he walked in Charlotte, here's my question. How many of y'all watched him play in Portland?
I mean, I saw a few games.
A few games. So, as you all know, Nick Batum has one really, really good game every 5 games.
All right.
So, in the course of the constitute of an NBA season, if you have an outstanding game one out of every 4 to 5, and you are okay to decent to negative the other 4 games, it all balances out. Every Portland fan knew that when he got the deal. They're just like, oh, okay, you guys want to give him that?
All right.
By all means.
I don't have my medicine on me, so let's move on. Let's go back to Summer League.
Hey, Jamal, you want to see your head explode?
Yeah, what you got, bro?
Game-winning block.
Let's move on to Summer League. Let's go back to Summer League.
Back to the Olympics, really?
Olympics, man. Yeah.
Scotty Lewis.
So back to Summer League.
As long as Batum didn't get that gold, I'm fine. If he had won gold medal, then I would have.
Listen, would it hurt more if you block Miles Bridges at the rim without hurt?
It would hurt way more, actually. Yeah, absolutely, yes, sir. Back to Scotty Lewis.
He ain't blocking Miles Bridges. No, that's that. I'll eat my Steve Smith jersey if Nick Batum.
I got to obey the house. You want some?
That's the real.
Okay, we've gone off the rails. Back to Scotty Lewis. I like Scotty Lewis. Scotty Lewis has a really interesting story, man. He's overcome a lot in his life. That kind of shows itself on the court. Man, he plays hard. His motor is a little higher than advertised. I like the way he plays defense, man. You know, I like the fact that he got completely yammed on. I mean, he got postered, and then he goes on a personal 7-0 run. Like, I kind of like that, man. He shows some guile. He shows some guts, man. That's the kind of guy you need on everyone needs on their roster. Yeah, he even got the Sean Kemp pointed on him, man. But I like the kind of I like that competitive fire Scotty Lewis has, man. I hope they can make the roster. Say it again.
They're not giving out texts for pointing when you dunk on people.
These Summer League refs don't care.
That's what I'm saying. People, Summer League, no one gives a shit. The refs don't care. Nobody cares.
You know, to Scott, I had a chance to talk to Scotty before we started in summer league, and Jamal mentioned the story. The kid was homeless, and he's not homeless. Homeless is homeless, but homeless in New York City is completely different in most places.
Yeah.
And one of the questions I think either myself or somebody had a chance to ask him about his motivation, and he says growing up where he come from, he doesn't want to go back. He doesn't want to go back to where he comes from. That's why he says because he's drafted, he feels as though his obligation is to make the Hornets look completely smart by drafting him and taking the chance on him. Any kid with that background, that story, and he worked himself into Florida. When I watched him in Florida, he reminded me a lot of Cody Martin and a lot of the Martin. Basically, he's kind of like a combination of both of the Martin twins.
But he can shoot better.
Well, no, if you put Cody and Caleb in the same body,
NBA player.
I think that's how you bring Scotty Lewis into the equation. I figured if he was going to have a good summer league, I don't think Cody Martin is being brought back. And because he does a lot of the same things as Cody Martin, he does a lot of some of the things the same as Caleb Martin. I think Lewis he's one of those guys. As a glue guy, he's a hustle guy. I think honestly, he might even take a Wandu spot on the roster if he's been given the opportunity.
Oh wow.
Because I've covered Wes from the very beginning. Wes is he's a great kid, very, very great kid, very smart. But Wes can't shoot. Mm-hmm. If you think frustrating and Wes and Wandu jump shots go together like Obey and crab legs, it is bad. It is. But he plays defense, but his shooting is flat out bad. Like I said, I think Scotty Lewis is a good chance to make this roster. I don't know how Charlotte's going to finagle the cap. Wandu's contract, I think, is the minimum.
Like $2 million, $1 million or $2 million?
I think it's the minimum. I think it's like 1.15. Okay. I think it's the same number right around Cody Martin, the same number as Jalen McDaniels. It's nothing extreme. But I think if Scotty has a good game tomorrow. Oh. Yep, I know. I'm talking too much about the city of Charlotte, especially the Panthers. I think my webcam is like, don't do this. Hey. No, but I think if Scotty has a good game tomorrow, I think he has a good spot, a good time in training camp next month. I can see Scotty on that 15-man roster, honestly, over a lot of the other guys.
Good stuff.
So, guys, man, look, it's time to talk about the lottery picks. The lottery pick and the first round pick. I want to start with Kai Jones. Is he NBA ready today, or is this a project? Because some people are under the impression that he's ready to come in and immediately contribute.
I don't think so. Not yet. However, I am very, very high on this young man. I'm very, very high on his potential. But the one thing that lets me know that he is not ready for the NBA game is his decision making is terrible sometimes, man. Like I sent out a tweet yesterday and I said if I had to take a shot for how many times I said give up the ball, Kai, I'd be drunk. I'd be drunk on my ass. Like somebody has to let him know that we're going to have guards and point guards that are going to make his job easier. He forces his shots way too much of my liking for him to be a big. You know what I mean? He tries to do way too much on the court. His basketball IQ is not where you want it to be right now, but that's okay because he's 18 years old. You know what I mean? But on the flip side, man, his athleticism, man, his motor, his shot blocking ability, his ability to get to the rim. All of that is just it. He jumps off the screen at you with his talent. But Hornets fans have to be very, very patient with him because he's very raw and he's going to need a lot of coaching. So I don't expect him to make a huge contribution this upcoming season, but going forward in the next, I don't know, hopefully 5 to 10 years, I hope we see a lot of LaMelo Ball to Kai Jones alley-oops, man, because that he has a chance to be special, man, but he's going to need some coaching.
I think about this when I go to sleep. I think about a fast break. We'll say a 3-on-1 with LaMelo running the break, and then you got Kai Jones streaking down the right side and Miles Bridges on the left side, or maybe opposite since Miles Bridges is left-handed, and then just LaMelo Ball just having a logic loop. He doesn't know who to throw, so he just throws it up. And then Kai Jones and Miles Bridges collide in midair and the world explodes because that's what's going to happen when you
Eric Collins has a heart attack on camera.
Eric Collins is going to die on air. Miles Bridges on a fast break at the same time. He won't know what to do. Kai! Ready? I think it depends on what is expected out of him in the NBA. If we think he's going to come in and be the answers to the Hornets' interior offense and defense problems, no, he's not. He's not near ready. If you want him to come in and be Kai Jones, yeah, then he's absolutely ready. Hey, you need to come in, run the floor, and use your natural talents on offense and defense. And then, like you said, let everyone else on the team make it easier for you. I think he can definitely come in and contribute. Having said that, Mason Plumlee will be the day one starter, and he should be the day one starter. And Kai Jones he's gonna learn. He's going to get there. Just not quite. I don't think the Hornets are in a position to where they want their young guys to just come in and be able to freely make mistakes to learn from them. They're going to try and win games. James Borrego just signed a deal. He wants to win games, and he's not going to be willing to lose games because Kai Jones wants to hold the ball in the post for 5 seconds.
So we know what's going to happen. So as soon as Kai Jones has this amazing dunk and he doesn't play 38 minutes the next game, it's going to be fire James Borrego again. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's definitely going to – it's going to be – if Jello doesn't make the team, it's going to be fire James Borrego. I mean, yeah. In fact, I think JB,
but we digress.
To all of this, he got his money. He just signed his deal. He got the fresh lineup today. Probably, I know you're gonna see him. He's gonna be looking all cut up, for the Bulls game. He's not even worried about that. He's gonna do what is best for the team. I trust him when it comes to Kai Jones.
Let me look before Danny answers this question. Let me ask you a question. Does Kai Jones, within the depth chart, is he over the two big man rookie we had last year?
He should be. I'm going to leave it very short. He should be.
Guys?
I'd rather see him out there than Carrier Richards. I'll just put it.
Okay, Danny, you go ahead, man.
I think he's exceeded what people thought of him from the beginning. I think it is a project with him, but I think this is a much more enjoyable project than what we saw with Carrier Richards last year. Absolutely. I think it's way more enjoyable.
Or teaching Biz how to catch the ball.
Listen, Biz is good. Here's the thing: people hate Biz Macbiombo, but he served a purpose.
He did.
Okay, if you combine Cody and Biz together, you have an all-star center.
It's a pretty good center, right?
you have an upper echelon center in the Eastern Conference.
They need to do the Dragon Ball Z merge.
Yeah. But I think with Kai Jones, I think this is much more of a project that is much more workable than Carrier Richards. And the reason why I think that is, besides the fact that this guy can jump out of the gym, one thing he kind of does a little different than Nick Richards is that if he gets beaten off the dribble, Jones has the athleticism to go get the guy at the rim.
Right.
Nick Richards is a much more of a pure shot blocker. Jones is much more of an athletic shot blocker. So it's a little bit different. I think Jones is in the rotation to start the year. I think he's ahead of both of them, Carey and Richards, as we get into training camp. Yeah, Vernon and Nick are veterans, but they didn't do much. I mean, they did okay in the G League. They haven't really stood out in Summer League. I mean, Carey had the one good game in Game 3, and Richards has been okay. But if they were rookies playing like this in Summer League, I'd be okay. But they're second-year guys playing like this in Summer League, which kind of has me with the red, kind of with the I want to throw the red flag on the field at this point. But.
And Danny, don't you think it's pretty telling that both of them are still playing in the Summer League at this point? Like, because usually if they're ready, they don't play the third or fourth game. Am I off when I that?
No, not really, because I think because a lot of second-year guys, because last year was so bad on the rookies, because they didn't have a Summer League. They didn't have there was no practice time last year. There wasn't time to develop. And the G League season was just a bubble for like a month. They didn't have a full season in Greensboro or any of the G locations. So I consider the first year a throwaway. To me, this is year 1.5, for a lot of rookies. Because Tyrese Maxey, if you look at Maxey in Philadelphia, I mean, he's playing at a whole different Patrick Williams in Chicago.
Right.
Charlotte
native.
Yeah, you look. Somebody had posted in one of my sports rooms, that Tyrese Maxey is the most impressive player in summer league, and he's a Sixers fan. I'm like, well, pump the brakes a bit. But what they said, so who do you find impressive? I think, well, you have to break it down 3 different ways. You have to look at impressive from the rookie side, impressive for the second-year guy side, and then impressive for your Kenneth Farieds and Michael Beasleys and Antonio Blakeleys, who were.
Why are they playing in the summer league?
The Blazers hired damn ringers. That's what they tried to do, trying to win summer league. It's crazy. The Blazers were favored to beat everybody, and they lost like 30 points to the Pacers, but they went and got damn ringers. That's what they did.
That's awesome.
But I think if you look at the case of Kai Jones, when Takaza was talking about his dream of Miles and running the break, actually I posted on Twitter a week ago that if you think about this, just down the road, Charlotte might have the scariest fast break situation you're going to have in the league. Because if you have LaMelo grabbing a rebound, and we know what Melo does when he grabs that rebound, he is straight.
He looks straight down, yo.
It's straight turbo on 2K for him getting down the court. Can you imagine a fast break situation where you have Miles Bridges on one side, Kelly Oubre on the other side? Because he didn't mention Kelly Oubre at all, and Oubre can jump out the gym.
And we should mention Kelly Oubre because he dunked on us 7 times in one quarter last season. So we should mention him.
I'm surprised none of the 3 of y'all mentioned that until now.
Hey, things I want to forget.
Right.
But think about this: you have Melo having those 2 on the wings and Kai Jones as the trailer. Like, what do you do in that situation?
And then you got shooters on the outside.
Well, we're talking. It's just a fast break. If you just have those guys running, because Jones can run just as fast as Bridges, just as fast as Oubre. I don't know if you can keep it with Melo, but if he's your trailer, like if you're the guy stuck.
Triple alley-oop in NBA history.
We're talking NBA Jam where you pass to the first guy, then the triple dunk, and next thing he's on fire in the Spectrum Center, and the Spectrum Center literally goes on fire because
and Eric Collins is being carried out on a stretcher. Yeah, absolutely.
The building's on fire because Eric combusted on air and caused fire everywhere. This man's gonna have a coronary for the season's over.
guys. Finally, I want to talk about James Bouknight. How impressed have you been with him during this summer league?
I'll go first, man. It's what I expected, to tell you the truth, man. Again, I've seen a lot of this young man. He's exactly what I thought he'd be. Guy good ball handler, man, decent shooter, man. I think his game is made for the pro level. You know what I mean? Like, he's the type of guy where if you looked at him in college, man, you can't really get a proper gauge of how good he can really be. Now, with that being said, man, there's still the same concerns I had with him coming into the season as far as like some of the turnovers. I don't like the fact that he kind of sulks when he turns the ball over, or he kind of stops playing if he feels like he's getting fouled. Some of those little young player maturity issues are still kind of showing itself a little bit, man. But overall, I'm not worried about James Bouknight, man. His game is ready-made for the pros. I think in year 1, he is already a really good replacement for Malik Monk. In year 1, I think he's already ready to be that. So I really like what I see so far from Bouknight, but it was expected.
Yeah, especially considering during summer league, he's had to be primary ball handler a lot of the time.
Right.
Something that that is a role he probably won't have to take on all too often, in actual games.
To your point, Kaza, I think him playing along with Ish Smith is really going to help him out, man. I do. I think.
Yeah, I don't think we're talking about Bouknight enough, honestly. I mean, mainly because Jello Ball. That's not Jello Ball's fault, or that's everyone else's fault, honestly. Because Bouknight is, he's clearly the best player on the summer league roster. I know that when he went up against Mitchell, he had an off game, but like we said, he did. He got locked up, but like
that wasn't off. That man got completely shut down.
Shut down. It was
to be fair, everybody has had an off game against Mitchell. That's why they call him off game.
Here's the thing. We said before, summer league is like these glorified gym runs with NBA rules. that situation would be different in an actual game where he's getting better defensive, where he's getting better offensive help. It's not going to be a situation where Bouknight is just sitting there as the
one-on-one with the guy.
He just gets to come up and clamp him down, and he's got to make the shot. That's not going to happen all that often. So I didn't put too much stock into that. I think I do agree that I think he's better coming out of Summer League as a first-year guy than Malik Monk was. Now, Malik Monk did not participate in Summer League his first 2 seasons, much to the chagrin of a lot of fans, me included. I kind of felt like that was something Monk needed to do, and we'll never know if that was a detriment to his career or not. But I feel like with Bouknight, it has been instrumental into him moving into the NBA. Now, players. One of the good things about Summer League, as much as I shit on it, it does help players get acclimated to the pace and the rules of the NBA game. You're no longer playing 2 20-minute halves. You're now playing 4 12-minute quarters. There's a big difference in that extra 8 minutes per game. So I think this bodes well for Bouknight, and I'm excited to see him in an actual NBA uniform.
I think one thing that he has done to impress me is his playmaking.
Right.
It's something we didn't see at UConn. To Jamal's point, watched a lot of him play in college. UConn just wanted him to score. They wanted him to get the buckets because nobody else in that roster could do it. And he's mentioned even in pre-draft, he mentioned it on draft night, he mentioned it when Summer League started. The one thing that he said he had to show people is that he can make plays. He can create for others, not only himself. The first 2 games he kind of struggled with it. That third game he was great. 8 assists, no turnovers in game 3. Right. And in Summer League, you're going to have those moments. Like you said, you're going to have those moments where it's sloppy. But I think he's shown to the Hornets brass that he can handle the ball. Now, am I asking him to handle the ball in September, October? He's not even considered the third point guard at this point.
Right.
Okay, we have to have
and he shouldn't be. Let's be clear. He shouldn't be.
But the thing is, you want to be able to know that the kid can make the right basketball play. Right. And I will say this. As we look back on Summer League, I want to know, where was Joel Berry this entire time when Nate Darling was out? No one said anything about this. I haven't seen not hide nor a hair of Joel Berry. I don't know where he was, but they put Bouknight in a situation where he had to be the point guard because Grant Riller his contract wasn't picked up.
I think we're seeing why now.
His contract was not picked up right before Summer League started. Him or Darling's contract, but Charlotte had no point guards on this roster. I think me and Rodney had talked about this on text one day. Like, where are the point guards?
And that to me is why you've seen some of
sloppy,
the rough starts coming out. Mm-hmm. There's no pace setter, and I think that you would see a better Kai Jones with an actual point guard on the roster to kind of help.
Agree.
I can't wait to see him and Ish Smith together. Because if anybody can get a guy ready for this moment, I think. No offense to LaMelo, but LaMelo's a year number 2. Mm-hmm. Ish Smith has played for half the teams in the NBA at this point.
He's not lying.
I think he's on team 15 right now.
I think he is 12 or 15. 12 or 13.
12.
It's one of them. I think he's been in the league 12 years, I think, but he's played for 15 teams, I think it is. And when you look at, and Ish has played with some good bigs. He's played solid minutes. He's been that role guy, but I think, and just imagine working with him in the pick and roll in practice to get the spots. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. We got one more game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what we're going to see tomorrow night. And the confusing part is the Hornets are playing the same time as the championship game tomorrow night, which is the weirdly most stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, why would you take eyes away from the – I'm just leave that alone.
Listen, I don't get it. The Summer League championship game is 9 o'clock tomorrow night. The Hornets play at 10.
What's the last place game?
Right.
Well, you know what? This is not as bad as Orlando Summer League. Orlando Summer League used to be the worst because the championship game was at 12, and then they have the fifth place game, the seventh place game, and then the third place game afterwards.
Later.
Like, who cares? Like, at
who cares?
Summer League is over. Why are we still playing?
Yeah. Technically, why is the championship game before everybody else? Because I'm sorry, after a week of Summer League, you are just like your ability to watch bad basketball, the unity of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
y'all think the Hornets are bad. Watch some of these other teams in summer league.
Man, look, I literally like the last 2 games, man. Like I literally wanted to change the channel in the first quarter. I'm like, yo, this is just terrible basketball, man. It's hard to watch, man. It's very hard to watch. But
no, what are you talking about? The Hornets group told me. They told me that summer league
is important. Like, this will affect our playoff chances. What are you talking about, Rodney?
Listen, so Rodney, what's worse? Hornets Summer League or Panther football in general? Which one's worse to you?
No, don't do that.
I'm not answering that question because you asked it. If anybody else asked that question, I'll answer. Not for you, buddy.
I'm gonna go in the group. I'm gonna go into the group and ask that question because I think it's pretty valid.
We're admin, so we can delete you. So
we can delete any question you ask. Look.
And then we'll flag the whole group for
post
spam.
Approval for Danny. Danny has post approval. So anything he posts has to be approved at this point.
No, I'm gonna flag the whole group for spam.
Man, honestly, man, like I don't know, man. Look, Panthers football last year was rough, bro. It was, man.
I've erased that season from my mind.
Here's the thing. At least you guys were not subjected to watching the Ravens and Saints last night to play scoreless football for almost 20 minutes last night.
That was an awful game. I turned it off.
Okay, I'm sorry. Justin Tucker got a field goal before my wife and I went. We left because we weren't staying for this foolishness. Because Lamar Jackson was in gold chains and a black T-shirt. All right. All right. My wife was like, because you walk through downtown Baltimore, all you see is either Lamar Jackson jerseys or Justin Tucker jerseys. That's all you see in downtown Baltimore. The quarterback and the kicker.
That's sad.
I don't see. I've never walked in Charlotte and saw John Casey jerseys everywhere.
You never will, buddy.
No,
I know people had them.
Not after the 2004 Super Bowl, you won't.
Right, exactly.
I mean, that's the best thing in his entire career. But what I'm saying is, no, but you go through downtown Baltimore. I mean, I don't count Ray Lewis jerseys because Ray's completely different.
Ray's different. Yeah.
But you talk about current day players. You go in through, all you see is Lamar Jackson. I'm like, okay. Then I saw a whole group of like 12 people with Justin Tucker jerseys, and their complexion's the same as ours.
Whoa.
He must be from an area or something, man. That's
probably East Baltimore. That's East Baltimore.
But they were our complexion wearing Justin Tucker jerseys.
I mean, maybe the jerseys on sale at Kohl's or something?
Yeah, Tucker the plug.
Nah, they were the authentic joints. Like they had the stitching and everything.
Oh wow! So I can't explain that one, buddy.
So you're going there and like you're seeing the nobodies play. Taysom Hill was terrible last night.
That's good to hear.
Well, here's the thing: so the first series of the game, they got down the field and Callaway had caught 3 passes. One was on Marcus Peters, the other one was on Humphrey. On great routes. I'm like, Hill's getting out of the field. And then I was telling my wife, okay, so I'm explaining to her the red zone. I said, when you get inside the 20-yard line, most times teams score, Murray fumbles. And then hands it right back to Baltimore. McSorley couldn't throw. McSorley looked worse than Will Greer. Like, he was literally just throwing the ball to anybody, everybody, but his own team. So after about 5 punts, then Hill throws an unexcusable interception where he overthrows a guy, the Madden style, where you throw the bullet pass when the guy's wide open or out route, and it just literally just sails into the hands of the computer, and you're pissed at your screen. That's what Taysom Hill's interception was. He would have had a second interception if the guy didn't drop it. So,
but Troy Aikman said Taysom was the future.
No, I think Jameis, the interception last night on Jameis wasn't his fault because the ball was tipped and then it ended up in another player's hands. But Jameis didn't look that bad. He didn't look that bad, but man, that was some rough football. Trace McSorley and Taysom Hill playing to a scoreless tie through 16 minutes of football. There wasn't enough shots in that place for me to take, but I'm not paying $18.
I want to ask you guys a question. I want to ask you guys a quick question. The Ravens have won 18 straight preseason games. Is that important?
No.
Because during that streak, how many Super Bowls did they win?
All right, case closed.
No, during the streak. Not at all, but how many during the streak?
0.
They haven't won since 2012.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Hey, I got a quick yes or no question for everybody. Are you getting a new Madden or not?
You know, last year was the first time in like 25 years that I skipped out on Madden. I've played every Madden. Even when I was playing 2K, I was playing Madden at the same time. Last year, I skipped out because EA said that they weren't making these big sweeping changes to franchise mode, which is the mode that I mainly play. I do play some Madden Ultimate Team, and I do play some online. But for the most part, I'm a franchise mode player, and I still think NFL 2K5 had the best franchise mode of any game ever. Like the amount of granularity and depth in that game has not been matched. So last year, when Madden said that they weren't making any change to franchise mode, I literally didn't buy it, and I didn't miss it. But this year looks pretty decent. Promising. They've made some changes to franchise mode. You can actually hire assistant coaches and training staff. So I might give them my $60.
Let me give you my answer. I have not been blessed like Daniel has been blessed with a new system. So I got an Xbox. Yeah. Just shut up. So I ain't buying nothing. I ain't buying nothing till I get a new system. At this point, I'm checked out. I'm checked out. Candace, if you hear me, look, I'm checked out, boo.
I've had the game since Thursday, so I don't know what more to say.
This guy, I don't know what to talk to you.
Listen, you asked the question. I just said I've had the game since Thursday. All right, I've been playing since Friday. I didn't play much.
I just want to announce that I'm going to open a GoFundMe because I need a new LG C1 TV. So if anybody wants to,
can you grab me one too?
I got you, man.
No, but I'll say this: Madden's much more. The bad part about it is Madden's much more enjoyable on next gen.
Okay.
And reason being is that the graphical updates make the game better, and then the presentation,
even without a fancy TV.
It does. You can tell the difference because
there's different animations actually on the next.
Because I'll say this: my wife and my mother were watching. They were in the living room, and I was playing, and they was like, "Oh, so football's on."
Oh, there's a game on.
Yeah, it was like football's on because I had the broadcast camera on and everything, so I had the broadcast camera angle, so like you're watching a real game. And she goes, "Are the Panthers playing right now?" Because I was playing Panthers and Falcons. Yeah, Mom, they're playing right now. And then when she's like, "That person don't look real in the crowd," because I'm like, "No, Mom, it's not. It's a video." You had me confused, but no. With the AWS part of Madden on next gen, where they have the next gen stats, because they actually throw next gen stats in the middle of the game, so you can see where the balls are throwing or the speed of the players or X, Y, and Z. When you're playing Lamar Jackson, you just get like a 20-yard gain and say, "Oh, Lamar was going at 17, 20 miles an hour on this run."
Wow,
it's like watching a real game. And to Kaza's point, to answer your question, Kaza, about franchise mode. It's exponentially better this year than it was last year.
Good.
So you're, as a franchise player like myself, it's actually worth it for the franchise. That's the only thing I play. I don't play. I can't play Ultimate Team.
Yeah,
I only play online with people I know because it's just too much frustration or irritation. But if you have next gen, it's well worth the purchase. I'm not saying it's the best Madden in 10 years because Madden says that about every Madden in the last 10 years. That's the best game going, but they made enough improvements to be worth a purchase this year, especially if you didn't play last year.
So, Kaza, so we got to go to Danny's house and take some stuff to play. Okay,
you can play at my house. Have y'all seen my PC?
No, you updated it.
No, nobody plays PC.
You'd be surprised. People because did Madden get PC this year? I'm not sure if they got it this year.
They might not have gotten next gen this year. So this is my liquid cooled monster right here.
You are such a dork, man. Yeah.
You're such a hater up there.
Yeah,
I say this lovingly, man.
I know.
Yeah. But still, we can still go steal Danny's Xbox. I'm game with that.
Okay, cool.
Just remember, if you come to Newport News, you are coming to Newport News. All right. All right. I'm not going to tell you which door mine is, but all I know is there's eight doors. You better hope to pick the right one.
Pick the right one.
Hey, all right. I'm going to give a real quick shout out. I got two real quick ones. First of all, NBA. Let LaMelo Ball get number one. Just get that man.
You can blame Malik Monk and no, we're not doing this. You know what?
I think Monk did it on purpose.
No. You know what? Let's kill this right now because I'm getting tired of seeing social media. No, that's my gripe now. This is not the NBA holding LaMelo Ball back from getting number one. There is
he is oppressed. It is oppression, Danny.
Oppression, my ass.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
No, number one doesn't matter at this point. The NBA normally has a March deadline to do it. They told LeBron James no. So if they told LeBron James though he couldn't change his number from 23 to 6 with the Lakers, you think they're gonna let LaMelo Ball get away with that?
You know what? That ends the story right there. Yep. Say no more, buddy.
I understand that there's a lot of reasons why the NBA has that deadline, but it's just a number.
I mean, the thing is, if I don't know if the NBA has the same rule the NFL has about changing your number, because that's why Davin Cook didn't change his number back either, because they told him if he had to change his number, he had to buy every single piece of remaining inventory.
Right? Yeah.
Oh wow.
With that number on it.
Ooh,
he's a running back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah.
He don't make that much.
LaMelo was rich before he came in the league, though. He can afford it.
No, not the rookie contract. And Julio Jones was able to do it because Jones was traded.
Okay, yeah.
Jones was traded. If you're traded teams, you can change the number without penalty.
All right.
That's why Julio was able to wear number 2. But the whole LaMelo, I think LaMelo should put in for it now. Get the jerseys now, and just if you bought a LaMelo Ball jersey, you better hope you have American Express jersey protection. And yes, Chicken C is worth the drive, but Chicken C's chicken sandwiches are on point though. Yes.
Second thing, real quick, the Netflix documentary about the Malice at the Palace. I finally got around to watching that. Very good. It doesn't present any new information that those of us, that have known about this for what it's been 15 years, 16 years almost. So it doesn't present any new information, but Jermaine O'Neal is actually one of the executive producers. So it gives the perspective from the players that we didn't get with other documentaries, particularly Jermaine O'Neal, who probably took the brunt of the blame for what happened, even though
instead of the fan who threw the beer.
Well, actually, Ron Artest, they don't like him at all. I mean, they made that very clear during the documentary. Like I hate that. Steven Jackson was like, I hate that mother beep. I mean, Steven Jackson's going to say Steven Jackson stuff. They felt like it was mainly his fault and that his career was not detrimentally affected by it. He went and won a championship with the Lakers. And they even showed a clip. I didn't realize this, but after he won that championship with the Lakers on air, I mean, minutes after winning the championship, they asked him about, him coming back from the Malice at the Palace. And he said on air, he feels like a coward because he felt like he could have won a championship with Jermaine O'Neal and Steven Jackson. And here he is celebrating, and those guys did not. Real good documentary. It's worth the hour of your time to give it a watch on that if you have Netflix in your NBA. So,
all right, my shout out just goes to the fans in the chat like every week. I think we're getting some new people that's coming up in the chat every week, man. So shout out to y'all, man. Please continue to do so. We're here every week, mainly every week, man. Please like, share, and subscribe. And shout out to our boy Danny, man. Danny, always a pleasure having you on, man. Yeah. Even though you're a Falcons fan, it's still a pleasure having you on.
Don't give him too much kudos. That's his head to get big. Don't do that.
Danny, do you have any shout outs, brother?
Shout out to first of all, shout out to my wife for bringing home that next gen console that Rodney wants so badly. Anytime I can get Rodney to be upset with to cause an issue with him and his wife, jokingly on social media, I will take that.
It's a good day.
It's like Carolina beating Clemson in basketball. It's just a wonderful day all the way around. Big shouts to the three of you guys as always. When the bad signal's always called. I'm always
plug your show too. Danny's got his own show, y'all.
Yeah. Shout out to show, man.
Beyond the Buzzer Thursday nights on Facebook, YouTube, and then the Around the Association podcast where we begin after Labor Day weekend, my NBA show. The guest list for the show is going to be something special. I'm bringing on different NBA folks all from across the league, so it's not just Hornets. Yes, I will send the signal out for you guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, but no, I can't wait to do a basketball pod again. But yeah, it's great to have you guys around, being on you guys' platform, and hopefully that none of my stuff gets banned, because Lord knows the next 20 days I'm going to be sending Panther clips everywhere to all of you guys. Don't worry, it's not the most flattering ones either.
I'm numb.
I'm same.
I'm just numb. Okay, my shout outs. Shout out to me and my wife. We have a radio show coming, a 15-minute spot on WDRB.
Congrats, bro.
Via iHeart for cohort. So that starts this Thursday at 10:15 every Thursday. Just kind of highlights and clips of our weekly shows. Man, just shout out to everybody, man. That's still grinding out here, man, and supporting. I want to give a special shout out to the family of Steplin Gray. His funeral was on. I think it was on Friday. R.I.P. to him, man, and much love to him and his family, man. Really miss you in the chat, bro. Shout out to Danny for coming on and shoot me his address so I can make a visit.
Listen, I told you, the wife told you what to do if you need to find one. All right. The wife told you and Candace what you need to do to stop your marital issues about this damn Xbox.
Yeah, right? She did. She told her.
Okay.
But so but guess what? My wife is not letting me get it. So I mean, it's
going to cost you
a whole lot.
I mean, to me, it's worth it. The consequences behind me getting this Xbox is the fact that my wife is fueling the next plane for Jeff Bezos to be flying on Amazon. So, with the Amazon purchases, it is what it is.
Oh man, look, you got to be nice. You got to be nice for a long minute. You got to play nice.
Bro, I chased this Xbox like Captain Ahab or Moby Dick since literally November. Okay,
same.
Like.
Shout out to the guy on Twitter who told me when one was available. Shout out to you, whoever you are. But yeah,
like, do you understand how hard it is to find this thing?
Seriously, dude.
And to get it at cost. You know how hard that was.
That's
at cost.
At cost.
Yeah.
So no, big shout. But yeah, if y'all want to come find me, you gotta come to Newport News, like to Jay in the chat. Yeah, coming downtown Newport News, you want to.
I'll be there, man. I'll be there with Allen Iverson and his people. But guys, man,
he ain't from downtown. He's from uptown.
Look,
he's from uptown Newport News.
He run the whole Hampton Roads.
There you go.
I'm good on AI's name.
No, because see, Newport News is different than Charlotte, because downtown Newport News is the number of streets where Michael Vick grew up at. Uptown is where is the upper section, so it's not downtown, essentially. So if you can go to downtown Newport News, you want to. Everything you saw on 30 for 30 with Michael Vick about where he grew up, that's downtown Newport News.
Like that, yeah.
Hey man, look. I'm gonna say this before we go. I'm good on any MLK Boulevard. Peace out.
Peace out.